Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, me to John Gallagher Jr. about Gone in the Night, which is going to be in theaters July 15th. Welcome to the show, man. It's good to see you.
It's good to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
I love a good thriller, don't we all, man? Come on,
Yeah. The best. One of the best genres.
It is. So that's my first question. I mean, this one's more of like, this one has the horror movie moments where it's like, like what is happening? It's freaky, but it's a thriller and everything. What's it like working on the genre at a time where it's so big right now, like the thriller genre?
I mean, I think I just feel really lucky to be in the fold. I feel like it's such an exciting way to tell a story. One of my favorite things about horror, thriller, sci-fi is that you get to make these big kind of larger than life stories, but at the heart of them, I feel like they only work if you have a real basic human component to the storytelling. So this one is just about, it's about, the horrors of aging, in a sense. And it's kind of like a new spin on the old trope of like the search for the fountain of youth in a sense,
Yeah, it's tough to conduct an interview like this, man. I'll be honest with you, because it like, you don't want to give anything away because it's such a good, like if you want, watch the trailer then go into the movie, I think is the best way to do it. Cause you know what I mean? It's good to go in fresh with this one.
Totally. It's kind of hard to explain. There's a lot of twists and there's a lot of turns. It's kind of one of those films that I've always told people when they ask me about it, I'm like, I can't really tell you too much because you're going to have a better time if you go in, without too many preconceived notions or anything.
It's pretty crazy. Now, I find it very interesting because the horror genre is my favorite genre, and it exploded at one point where there was like a crop of all these movies that came out on Netflix and everything.
Yeah.
And you were part of that first wave, in my opinion, because you were in Hush, and that was one of those movies that was part, I think, of that crop of movies that everyone was watching. Do you know what I mean by that a little bit?
Totally. We were ahead of the curve on Hush a little bit. We were one of the first kind of horror film. We were one of the first horror films that Blumhouse basically, brought to Netflix.
Yes.
And now it's very common. Now you see Netflix acquiring, buying, producing, developing tons of horror titles. But at the time it was relatively new. Netflix had only just started doing streaming for television series. Yeah. And so there hadn't been a lot of films yet. And so we got bought by Netflix at South by Southwest in 2015, and then it ended up coming out in 2016. So I feel honored to be in the fray there because it's one of my favorite genres too.
Your character in that just drove me nuts.
There's something wrong with that guy.
Oh my God, when he's trying to lie and say that he's
when he pretends to be the private security guy.
I was like, get out of here. I was so mad, but you did a good job.
I know. It's a freaky scene because you can see Michael Trucco's character being like, wait, I don't think something's off with this guy's vibe.
Yeah. Well, this one, you got to work with some incredible people on this film.
Oh, yeah.
This is a stacked cast. Everyone in this just knocked it out of the park. It's in the trailer, so it's no spoilers, but there are some car ride scenes with Winona and everything. What was that like? What were those kind of dialogue-driven scenes like?
A dream. I've just been such a fan of hers for ages. I mean, she's an unparalleled performer in this industry. She's had such a storied career arc through the years. She's gotten to work with the great directors of our time. I just think the world of her, and it was a dream come true getting to meet her because she just couldn't have been sweeter. She's such a nice person and such a pro, and getting to, have these one-on-one scenes with her was surreal. I had to pinch myself to get through the day because it was hard not to be just totally starstruck. You're looking into Winona Ryder's eyes. It's hard to kind of stay grounded and stay humbled. But I just kind of was stayed in the moment because she makes it so easy. A day on set with her is a really great day because she's just such a wonderful presence.
Yeah. You're again, I'm going to ask this question where it's going to kind of come off vague, but you'll know what I mean, but I don't want to give up. Your character is a little bit out to lunch in this film.
Yeah. That's fair to say.
Yeah. Is that a good way of saying it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I accept that.
Yeah. So what's it like playing a character like that where it's just kind of thrown in a situation and just kind of like doesn't clue in, doesn't read the room a lot because of a lot of situations. Is that fun to play?
It is fun, because I think that, he's out of his depth, he's a little bit out of his element. I think he's stuck between generations and stuck between time frames. Mm-hmm. He really is drawn to the kind of wisdom and the age that Winona's character has, but he's also seduced by the kind of young, reckless abandon that these characters played by Owen, Teague, and Brianne has. So he's kind of caught between these two worlds. But he doesn't really totally have the emotional maturity to kind of grasp his situation. But I think underneath his simple-mindedness is a very sweet soul who is basically just desperate for connection, in which, aren't we all in one way or another?
It's funny too, because, there's a lot of movies out there, even there's like a lot of horror movies that you could just put on the background and watch and just kind of like maybe check your phone a little bit and watch. Like, this is not the film for this. Like, you got to really pay attention.
Yeah, it's like every scene kind of, it gets kind of ratcheted up. Every scene pushes the story and kind of like adds one other layer to the mystery until it finally gets revealed in the end.
I feel like, is it exciting though to be in a thriller though that has enough horror elements to it that like the true like horror fans are also going to eat up as well? Do you know what I mean by that a little bit? Because it's like, it's a thriller, right? But
yeah, definitely.
It's got the elements of horror in there.
Right. Yeah, no, it's funny because I like things that kind of, bend genre. And I feel like that's what I loved about this one, is that it starts like, I started reading it and I thought, oh, we're in like a kind of a romantic drama about this couple. And then, oh no, I think maybe we're in a horror movie because they're at this house and they don't know what's going on. And then, oh no, this is like maybe like a murder mystery, or maybe, oh no, it's kind of a comedy. And it's, it kept reinventing itself every 5 to 10 pages. And that really was exciting because I had no idea where it was going as I was reading it.
You know what? It's so great that you bring up genre bending, because it's like, if you look at my past interviews with a lot of people, it's like a theme. Like, I bring that up a lot because I love that. But I don't think anyone like woke up in like the 2000s and was like, I want to make a horror comedy drama action. Like, I feel like it just kind of happened. Now though, I feel like it's like a trend, eh? Like, people are setting out to do it.
That's accurate. Yeah. I think you have someone like, especially like, total game changers, like, Get Out, which kind of broke the mold, where it was like, oh, like these horror films they can have comedic elements and they can have intense social relevance. And now I feel like people are looking for, kind of the Russian doll films where it's like a thing inside a thing inside a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Is it safe to say though that like musical theater was like your first love? Is it safe to say?
I don't know that I would say it I got lucky is the way that I would say it. I loved musicals growing up, but I didn't aspire to be in them because I didn't have any professional vocal training. And I moved to New York thinking I was going to do like straight plays, just like theater. And then I got lucky and I went on this open casting call to Spring Awakening, which was this musical that ended up being the next 3 years of my life. So
I know it was a lot. It was a good run. Yeah.
It definitely, I made a big splash in the musical theater world. And I do love them. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I don't love them, but the funny thing is I've only done 3 musicals versus, 30 some films and multiple TV shows and other straight plays. So even though I think in a lot of ways I'm weirdly most known for the musical.
Well, I think it's also because of the Tony, the run and everything too, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, and it was just a big zeitgeisty moment. Spring Awakening had a huge impact.
But it's interesting. And then would you say that kind of also prepared you like professionally to do like big scale things in TV and film like after that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, when you're doing musicals or even just regular theater, like the work ethic that's demanded of you is so intense because you're performing 8 times a week. You're doing 2 shows on Saturday, 2 shows on Sunday. You get 1 day off on Monday to rest. It really is like trial by fire. Like you will absolutely earn your stripes doing that. And it really cuts your teeth on how to, how to bring it, how to stay present, how to reinvent yourself, how to make it fresh. It really is kind of boot camp for actors.
Yeah.
I recommend any actor. I know some people don't love being on stage, but I would recommend it to any actor. Like just do a run of a show because man, it kicks you into shape for sure.
Also, I did stage hand. I did follow spot operator for my like high school productions and everything. You'll agree with me on this, I hope. there's nothing like the day of a performance. And not even a couple hours before. Like you wake up in the morning and you're like, I'm performing. There's a rush, right?
Oh yeah, it's like your whole day is about getting to 8 o'clock.
It's the best, right?
It's wild. There's nothing. Yeah. There really is nothing like it.
It's funny too because I like there was definitely some like musical fads that were upset on social media when like with Newsroom with Jim, like people saying that you were like a newcomer and they were like, what are you talking about?
Oh, right. This guy's been around forever, man.
But that's literally what it is. Like I'm a big pro wrestling fan, and like the big pro wrestling fans know like the indies and everything, right?
Yeah.
So these guys would finally get their break on like WWE, and they've been there, and they're like, "Oh, new wrestler." It's like this guy's been doing this for like 12 years.
It's true. It's funny, people don't unless you're kind of paying attention across all modes and fields of entertainment. Then you wouldn't know that. Oh, this guy did like 12 years of theater before he got into film and TV.
Yeah, I think again you were ahead of the curve with Newsroom too, because that kind of started the big like movement of like big scale television. If you think about that,
I mean, that was before. Yeah, we got in right under the wire. That was right before Netflix started doing streaming.
Yeah,
we were one of the last kind of cable network shows before the streaming surge.
Oh man, it was crazy. I remember being in school and like that was the show. Like everyone watched that one on Sundays. Like Monday mornings we would talk about. Oh, it was a great show. You've done some amazing things, man. It's really, really cool. Is it like you do Hush and you do Gone There, you've done a bunch of others, Band and everything. So is it safe to say you really enjoy like the working in that genre of like thriller and horror? Like, is that one of your favorite genres to work in?
I do. I just think it's really rich for storytelling and it's just fun. I mean, we love horror films because they're fun. It's fun to go sit in the dark and scare yourself and to put yourself in strange situations that you then can leave the movie theater and go, ooh, it's a sunny day. Thank goodness I'm okay. Like it's like a roller coaster ride, and I like being part of supplying people with that rush,
2 months ago, I actually wrapped production on a short horror film that I co-wrote and produced.
Nice. Congrats.
And the feeling though of like seeing it back in Video Village and like it's like an outer body experience. Like totally. It really is.
It's very surreal.
I now get why. Like I interview like actors and storytellers and you like say like it's great. Now I actually get it. Like I get why you do what you do.
Right. It's definitely a rush. Yeah, for sure.
It's so crazy. Very quick before we wrap up, when they get to watch this film, Gone in the Night, because I love this film so much, I can't wait for people to see it. What are you hoping they get out of it, takeaway wise, specifically?
I mean, I just think just like I said about the roller coaster ride of it all. I hope people will just take the ride. I mean, I think it's what I love about it is that it seems it's actually like a really sweet and interesting story about humanity and mortality. It just happens to be wrapped up in this kind of mystery box type of Twilight Zone thriller. But I just hope people dig getting to see like Winona Ryder, the legend that she is, starring in a feature film. It's just cool I know that she's had an amazing run on the last 6 years doing Stranger Things, but it's cool to also see her tackling a role like this. I was 100%. Really impressed with her work on this one.
Just her facial expressions sometimes. She doesn't even say anything. And
I know. I love her face.
It's so great. John, thank you so much for coming on Popternative. It was so great chatting with you.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
July 15th, it's going to be out in theaters, so they could check that out, which is awesome. And they can check out. You're probably gonna get a lot of people watching like Hush again when they watch when they do like. So.
Yeah.
This one too, I hope, is part of that like October spooky season rotation because like I said, it's a thriller, but it's got the horror element, so they're gonna be able to check that out. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Until next time, this is John Gallagher Jr. and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.